Great. Welcome. Hello. It is so good to have you here to invite you into this space. I'm Isabel Wellman, and this is the Cycles of Women Astrology, Seasons, and Menstruation workshop. What I'm doing here is it's the start of Aries season, and now more than ever, it's time to get up. It's the beginning of the new year, really, in true fashion. January 1st is great and all, but astrologically, Western astrology, we are in Capricorn season. And that's why we feel so driven and ready and prepared to create a structure that we're going to follow for 30 days. And then that time passes, and we're like, I don't really feel in alignment with what I set as my goal for the rest of the year because we haven't actually started the new year. So, that is what we are going to be learning about, diving into. And at the end of this workshop, I am going to have a super special offering. My first time offering something to this extent. I'm really excited to present it. I'm a little nervous to present it, but I trust in the universe that all will happen as it needs to. So, with that being said, I am going to start the presentation and we're going to get this ball rolling. Please make sure that you have water, you have your comfy clothes on, that you have some space around you to move, because we will be having a little bit of movement into tonight's workshop to make sure we don't fall asleep. Not that you'll want to fall asleep, but you know how a class goes or a workshop. Sometimes if we're not engaging ourselves, re-engaging ourselves, we can get a little lost in the sauce. So we're going to make sure we don't do that. So let us start this presentation. We're going to go on to here, share. Let me get, sorry, I'm coming in here like I'm blind a little bit. Share. Great. All right, guys, let's get ready. If you have your journals, whoops, I don't want to copy this. If you have your journals, if you have your pens, your pencils, please have them out, have them ready. We are going to be doing some different journaling throughout this, not too much, just a little bit. But before we begin, I invite you to stand up. Whether you're sitting down or you're already standing, I'm standing. I'm feeling the energy just coming full throttle through me. And I just want to invite you to move with me to ground us here. So let's just begin by twisting left and right, really easy. Just feeling ourselves in this space, shaking loose any nerves, any sort of energy that might be stagnant. Allow the head to gain some movement, some rotation, up and down. Start to move the shoulders. Get yourself a little bit more involved with each step we go. You can't see my hips, but start to move your hips however feels good for you. You can move the arms. I just invite you to be open with yourself, with your body in this space. Really get your knees involved, get the ankles. We're flowing, we're going. And then I just want you to jump and shake and jump and shake and jump and shake. And we're just moving this energy through us. All right, we're here. We're going to do it. Take a drink of water. Hydration is key. Whenever you're taking in new knowledge, this is going to help the energy move through you and not just in the releasing kind of way. So, cycles of women, astrology seasons, and menstruations. Why and what are we going to be diving into today? So, astrology, the story of the zodiac, the seasons, how we can align our actions to feel optimized, and menstruation, the sacred practice, how to be in alignment with it on a pretty basic level, easy to digest and to understand what is actually happening to our bodies as women. Next, this is what I hope you receive from this presentation. So feeling confident in your body as you move from month to month throughout the year, knowing when to take action, when we might need to reflect, take a step back, minus any of the retrogrades or other transitions or planetary alignments, just sticking with the basis of the bread and meat, the bread and cheese, whatever that saying is, of the signs of each month. 2, understanding how to have optimal health, what we can add, what herbs might support us best. And then 3, connecting with that divine inner feminine that is inside of all of us. It's begging to come out, take a stand, and be on top of the world. And if you do have any questions throughout this presentation, please, I invite you to email them into Isabel at isabelwellman.com, or DM me on the gram at Isabel Wellman, or just shoot me a direct message in Facebook, because I know we're Facebook Live and it's the first time and it's crazy. All right, so why am I passionate about these things? Why am I teaching this? Well, first and foremost, we can think that and believe that we are in the perfect space. We are in this part of our lives. During this time, I was about 20, 21, 22 years old when I realized all these things. I had gotten into my first long relationship. Some things had happened that I didn't necessarily feel like I was in my power for, and I lost myself. My energy was gone. I didn't know who I was, and it was driving me insane that I had no one to talk about what was important to me during that time. So I was so unsatisfied with my life, I took charge, and I just slowly began to find pieces of myself back, got my energy back, did what I loved to do again. And I made the transition when COVID came into the scene to make a move from Colorado, a place that I felt incredibly called to when I graduated from high school, back to Michigan, my homeland, where I felt so disconnected and I had so many wounds and so many things that needed healing. And I was in the most optimal space I'd ever been in, ever. And I look back at that time and I had released all judgment of myself. I had cleared my plate and my slate of the heavy weighing truths that were on my conscience that I wasn't admitting to me nor the people involved in my life. And once I did that, I cannot express the amplitude of energy, of life, of health that came into my body. And just when you think you got it all figured out and you're making moves, you're listening to your heart, you're in this spiritual awakening, so they say, it hits you. That weird thing. For me, chronic BV and yeast infections. Ladies, I had had an IUD in since I was 21. So I was 23 at this point. And it hadn't bugged me like this because I had started to get chronic symptoms for 12 months. Needless to say, it was a pain. Everything I did not work. Month after month, I'd go to the doctor, they'd give me antibacterials, and I would leave itchy, burning, brokenhearted. It was a nightmare. Nothing worked until I saw a doctor who said, hey, this is your 12th month in a row of this. How about we look at your diet? We look at your lifestyle. What are you doing? What are you over consuming, under consuming? What are you lacking in? And I'll tell you, my adrenals were on fire. And I saw a naturopathic doctor who got me on certain herbs. We got myself started on the elimination diet, take away things so that I could add them back in, see what disrupted my body. And I found out that I was definitely addicted to caffeine. That was the worst thing. I was in a different state of mind. I just moved to Alaska from Michigan, and I had this 3 coffee press mentalities to my days. Yes, most of the time it was 3. So I wasn't doing myself any justice. And I am here to help you learn from my mistakes so that you don't have to go the long way or the hard way, and learn what I did in order to get myself out of that rut and back to optimal health. So I eliminated all those things. I stopped with the antibacterials, and 2 months later, back to my normal self. I was feeling amazing. I didn't have any more chronic BV or yeast infections, and that was really the tipping point of rewiring my subconscious mind, finding out what mindful movement was and how it was optimizing my body by taking away the pains, the aches, the knee, the back, which I've hyperextended both, and they were constantly driving me crazy, and learning how to heal those by doing different movements that were intentional. Learning how to feed my body, and then live with the cycles. Oh my gosh. And learn how to nurture myself during my menstruation cycle so that I could be present, deliver, show up for me so that the rest of my world made sense, where I wasn't overgiving, undergiving. Revolutionary. And so that is why I'm so passionate about this. I hope that if you've had to deal with anything like that in your life, you get to receive a piece of wisdom from today's workshop. Oops, that's not what I want. There we go. So this is my mission. Remind women of their infinite potential. This is what I'm going to be talking more about at the end of this workshop, but I want you to learn from my lived experiences through my devotion to experimenting and trying out these tried and true practices of combining optimal health with the divine feminine, with living with the cycles and astrology, all through a simple, streamlined method that I have perfected very well. Let us just trust that our minds, our bodies, and our souls have our best intentions in mind. And all it takes is us being silent and listening to what that is. If I can follow my own GPS of that bottom row of words, the gifts, the power to lead me to my success, I know that you can also follow your own GPS. It's all about finding someone who can empower us to trust ourselves. I'm lucky enough to have had a supportive partner and family members and friends who have guided me along the way, mentors that I've picked up, coaches that I am now working with to make sure that I'm continually learning, growing, and being held accountable where I need it most. And that is what I want to deliver for any other women out there who long for that path, that community, that connection with themselves and the other females around them with a like-mindedness. So we're going to start with astrology. Anytime that we're in this presentation and you are feeling these body tingles coming through you, why don't you take your hands, start rubbing them. This is friction. This is how we make energy. You're going to feel the warmth, feel the sensation between your hands, what's happening, and then shake it out. And just feel that tingle, that life force, the blood circulating. It's really a phenomenal experience. And big inhale in and out, and we're here. And we set the intention of taking what resonates and leaving what doesn't, not judging what we're maybe not in alignment with, or what we've never heard about before, or what is new to us, but having an open perspective and an open heart to see if something wants to be invited in, trusting that you know what you need and what you don't need. No problem, just leave it where you found it. So with astrology, as you can see here, we have all 12 signs. Next to them, we have the body part that they're associated with and the theme that they most likely represent within and around the body, how we see that exalted in real life. And then on the right side, you see all of these different tools that we're actually going to be using through my upcoming launching 6-month coaching container. And this is the outline of the program that we use. So we're going to keep diving forward and starting with Aries. So let's break it down. Aries, it's what we're doing right now. We're in the spring equinox. We're here. It's the beginning of the year. We're up. We're out of the darkness of Pisces season. The cycle has ended and we're brand new. It's like we're little babies. We just got birthed out of the canal. We're in mama's arms, dad's arms, whoever's arms, and we're here. We bloomed. We've made it through that year. And it's no coincidence that Aries is first because it's forward motion. It's complete action. It is being determined to get the energy moving through our bodies so that we don't become stagnant, frustrated, irritated. And if you know anyone who is an Aries, someone who is born in March to April, what kind of personality do they have? They're probably often quick, they're wicked smart, wicked fast. They move at their own pace of their own drum. They're always trying to bring people with them, but they're not going to stop the boat to make sure they get on. You're either jumping on the boat or the boat's going on without you. And when we have all of this energy and these ideas flowing in and out of us, and we have something we want to stand for, it involves and requires us to move our bodies. So, the medicine, mindful movement, this is where in the 6-month coaching container, we dial in how we can move every single day for our homework as a group. How can we keep ourselves accountable? And I'm not saying to go hard every single day of this month, but the body requires all of this energy that has been stored in the body for the past month in Pisces season, the heaviness, the quiet, the solitude, the serene, the invisible, the illusionary, to get out. It's like a volcano. We're exploding, we're detoxifying, we're welcoming in the new flowers for our garden. We're planting the seeds. And then that mindful movement practice will give us the confidence to keep moving, to really start building a plan. And that's when we come into Taurus season. So let me ask you this. What was the last new thing that you started? Take a second to think about that. What was the last new thing that you started? And how long did that last? Did you see it all the way through? Did you quit halfway? Were you starting and then maybe you stopped because a lack of self-confidence or someone told you you wouldn't achieve it? Just think about it without judgment. Allow it to come into the body with love and respect, without being angry or frustrated at yourself, but just acknowledging what that was for you. Maybe it was really blissful and happy and it got you to this whole new place. And the Taurus energy, it's the builder of the zodiac. This is where we found out how to care for our bodies first through mindful movement. And now, April to May, we're able to be impeccable with our actions, with our practical sensations, with how we move in accordance with what we want. The idea that we have planted in Aries season and now has sprouted in Taurus season. This is where our foundation is going to become the most important part of this month. So think about anyone you know that was born during Taurus season. They're probably pretty reliable. They're very practical. They have such a simple way of being. They might even just try to help you out by grounding you, by not even doing anything but being next to you. If you're someone like me, you're pretty fiery. My partner's a Taurus and I need him. He helps me get grounded in ways that I was unaware of before we started dating. We're a good complement to each other. And as well as having a simple way of being, they're so sweet and so loyal, and they're going to ensure that your foundation is stable, just like to a house. You don't want your house built on toothpicks. You want that sucker cemented down nice and firm. So how do we have these foundation that we create? The medicine is to use our breath work and meditation practices, going out in nature, giving ourselves the time to really think about the process before we do it, making it simple and not harder. Work smarter, not harder. That's really their biggest saying. And as we move forward, that breath work, that meditation with that mindful movement is going to gear us up for Gemini season, which is from May to June. They're intellectual, they're chatty, these people, and this energy is here to make a transformation to how we, I want to say, not communicate, but how we move around in the world with our network in our network, in our work world, in our friendships, in our relationships. And this is a really beautiful energy because they are not just intelligent, but they have this unique way to design and engineer new possibilities. They have these two sides of themselves. Excuse me. And they want everyone to be a part of the party, a part of the construction of this idea. They want to get everyone's opinion. They want to pick and pull apart the best things that they see. And this energy is very fascinated with how this can work to the best of its abilities. So we like to invite in this alter ego state where we, one, may be feeling a little like, ooh, can I really pull this off, this idea? I have started the foundation. I know the process I'm going to go, but I just don't feel that confidence. I'm a little nervous. So they turn on the alter ego. They show up and they are Mrs. Fly in the party house. They're just walking into the restaurant and all eyes are on them because there's this essence about them that's like, ooh, look at them. I want to know what they're doing, what they're on, what they got going, because they're not afraid to step into who they want to be. Yeah, when they're on certain people or certain places, they might step back into that smaller self. But here we get to redefine and rediscover who we are. And this alter ego is going to serve us as we begin to really decide and aware that that idea that we had, the foundation we're building, and that in which we're becoming, stepping into, that's our new identity. And that is all about this May to June area in our lives. So, as we undergo this whole new identity shift, what typically happens? Well, from personal experience, I never try to talk or teach or share anything that I have not undergone, but we come into Cancer season. It's June to July, and we've made so many shifts over the past 3 months that we are just a little in this soft space. We pull back. We internalize a lot during Cancer season, during the Cancer energy, because we are looking at the inner child within us, the one who had these dreams way back when. And now they're wondering, ooh, am I cut out for this? What's in my way? What are the blockages? It's understanding how to accept, surrender, and heal, which we have carried for so long. Anything that we have, not forgiven ourselves for, that's still on our shoulders. Anything that we're fearful of, that's heavy on our shoulders. Any part of the body that we have not admitted to or we have disregarded as worthy or valuable, these are all things that are going to come up through our chakra systems, all the way from our sacrum to the crown of our head, from our intelligence to our worth, to our wealth, to our goals, to who believes in us. Do we believe in us? It's all on the line here. And this can be a heavy month. This can be a deep month. So in June to July, we don't want to just fight our way through it. We want to reel it back in. And think about anyone born during this time. How are they in your life? Perhaps they're homebodies. Perhaps they like to move slower. Perhaps they have this infinite wisdom within them, like a sacred goddess or a sacred mystic. Perhaps they're intuitive and nurturing, and the dreams, their emotions, they rule their worlds. They really want to make sure that whoever they invite inside is close, is safe, that they can really trust. So during this time, we want to go to our inner child and we want to heal them. It can also help when we do these practices, move around in water, getting ourselves into deep meditation, going into our subconscious mind and rewiring as we wind down for bed, who and what we want to believe in. And you can often find out what's in the subconscious mind when you look around at your reality. We'll talk about more of that. We'll talk more about that later, but it's time to heal that inner child. And if you don't know how to do that, you can type that in on a YouTube, Google it, find a meditation that works. You can take my inner child healing course. That will actually be a part of what I'm offering at the end. So if you're interested in how you go about that, stay tuned. So after we do all this healing, we come to this understanding that we are capable, we are worthy, we are intelligent, we can do all these things. We come into Leo season. I am so biased because I'm a Leo. I will not ever deny that I can be a little extreme, intense, full of life about things, passionate, maybe not knowing when to close my mouth at certain times. So, this energy, it can be captivating, it's enthusiastic. When you see these people, kind of like Geminis, you look at them, you're like, whoa, you're drawn to their energy because they radiate. It's the sun, that's who they're ruled by. So they're at the center of the room because they have this way of operating that engages us in a new way, whether we hate them or we love them. And I'm allowed to say that because I live with this energy. There's a pretty big I love you, or you're really driving me nuts to it. And it's learning how we can, during July and August, move forward with confidence, with courage, how we just go from this inner child feeling and now living in that, living by our own discernment of what we want and how we want to move. This daily perspective with how we interact with the environment, the people around us, how we achieve our alignment, it all is instilled in Leo season because it is our belief, our own validation in ourselves. So think about those Leo friends. They're often spiritually guided, and they may or may not admit that, but there's something deep within them where they are the ones performing acts for God, source, universe, whatever word you like to use, for his, what do I want to say, his intention for this lifetime for us. Whatever he wants, they live it through. So they're here to bridge that peace, that happiness, that that love. It rules the heart, this sign, this energy. And this is really asking us, the medicine, to be in aligned pleasure. When we have aligned pleasure, when we're saying yes to the things that make us feel good, when we're saying no to the things that don't align with us, we're living in our power. And that's the practice. It's not about always nailing it and always getting it right, because as we hop into Virgo season, we're going to see this little perfectionist come out in us. And from August to September, we can be real critical because we're halfway through the year. We look back and we go, what have I done? What have I accomplished? What needs reorganizing? What do I need to dial in and get into deep details about? Where can I scrub with the toothbrush and clean a little bit better? If you're resonating with any of this, please, I hope it's landing. I hope it's making sense. Rub those hands together, get that energy moving within your body. You can even rub your chest, you can rub your thighs, whatever you're feeling, and then shake it out from your hands. Feel that energy in your body. Gosh, is it just a miracle that we're all here? We're all blooming. I love that. So, this Virgo energy, it's tying up the loose ends. What kind of foods are we consuming? How can we go into our world and analyze how we're operating, how we're treating ourselves? Where can we put an emphasis on cleaning it up? So think about your Virgo friends. It's goddess energy. They're all about the plants, nourishment, bringing order to the kingdom of the signs. And they can often be these clean freaks where they want to detox, they have holistic practices, and they have this meticulous way of being the most efficient person in the room. So if we go all the way back, we have our mindful movement. Then we add in breath work and meditation. Then we're stepping into our alter ego. After that new identity comes on, we step into inner child healing to really integrate what it means to let go, surrender, release, and heal the old parts of ourselves that are blocking us from our success. Where we step into Leo season, we're gaining all this new clarity, and we're about to truly wear our pleasure on our face, in our bodies. We're feeling what that means to us to trust that alignment. And then the medicine of Virgo season, Virgo energy, is that intuitive eating factor. So learning how to fuel our bodies from the inside out so that we have clarity, we have focus, we have this confident energy beaming from the inside out, because we don't just feel good from moving our bodies, we feel good from what we eat and how we allow this energy to not only be a physical thing, but a conscious energy consuming thing. Hopefully that makes sense. And as we move forward, so in the 6-month coaching container, that will be the first 6 months that we work with. There will be an option to continue the coaching for the rest of the year, and that is where these parts will play out. With it, you get a 6-month coaching planner that has tools, homework, the different themes of the month, how to integrate this into our lives, what to acknowledge during this time. So much goodness. So we move into Libra energy. And this is typically a time where you think, oh, Libras, that energy, it's all about the other person. They don't care about anyone but themselves. They're shapeshifters. They like to morph. And those are things, but Libra energy in its highest form is when we can ask, do I love myself? Do I love where I am? Do I love what I'm doing? Can I really make space in a room for what I'm bringing forward into this life without having to sacrifice, without having to say no to make someone else feel better, to make room for someone else? So it's about knowing and learning and integrating how to embrace that love. It's creating, it's expressing, it's making things beautiful around us. Libra, it's ruled by Venus. Art, beauty, wealth, it's all here. It's the balance of life. It's a little bit of a politician at that as well. They're on a mission. So reflect on that mission and ask if you're enjoying it. During this time, it's okay if you want to tweak your foundation, tweak your plans, tweak how you're building. So our foundation is there, but we're tweaking how we build it the rest of the way, the plans as we move forward. We're refocusing how we spend our energy and where we spend it from September to November. September to October. Oh my goodness. I apologize for my typo. That's okay. So think about your Libra friends. What are they typically like? Are they creative? Do they try to help you with your problems, your love life, what you want to do, and get your life on track, but you never hear about what's going on with them? Maybe do they try to mimic what you want to do or what you're doing? Is there an aesthetically pleasing aspect to them? Are they super musical? Do they have a fine taste? These are all things that we look towards when we're valuing ourselves. So the medicine here, conscious relationships. This is huge. This is a ginormous aspect of moving through the year, is ensuring that throughout the process of building and creating and refining, that we know that we love ourselves the most for what we're doing, that we can be there if everything were to fall apart, and we wouldn't hold ourselves in this grudge state or in a mistake state, that we would be happy with what we have learned along the way, and that the journey is the most important part. And as we hop into Scorpio season, we have a newfound clarity on what it means to embrace this. So from November to October, we're going back in time, space cadets. No way, Jose. October to November. I love it. That is amazing. The energy gets intense. So we go from this really like playful and happy and silly sign to a very let's get shit done sign. So think about this. It is this story I really love. So it's all about the animal, the buffalo. So they say that during a tornado, a storm, like something crazy from nature goes on, and all the animals, they flee, they flock, they get out of there because they don't want to be in danger. The buffalo doesn't matter. What storm? What's going on? So they flip around Like, nah, I'm just going to go through it. I want this to be over with. So they walk through the storm. They walk until they are out of it. They get through it the fastest because they turn around, they see what's about to bother them, they see what's itching at under the surface, they see what's in the dark. They go, well, on the other side's light, and they go with a determination without stopping, and they do the work. So this is releasing all the heaviness around what it means to clear the slate. It's a potent time for us in our wealth, our investing, managing our money, understanding how to make the most of our time, checking in with who's in our network, with ourselves about what we want, who we want, how we want to be seen, our status quo. Think about your Scorpio friends. They can be a little secretive, maybe a little bit under the radar, but they're highly passionate. They're going to do Mount Everest and back probably twice in the same trip. Their vulnerability, that is where their authenticity shines through. That's where they can really make an impact on the world. Learning what they've had to go through, what their hardships were, and then teaching to that point. And like I say here, nothing is scarier than denying yourself from connection. Take that in. Nothing is scarier than denying yourself from connection. And that's what happens when we go, oh, I'm just going to ignore what's going on. I'm going to look the other way. Don't need to deal with that. We're good. We're fine. And that's the lack of responding to what needs to be looked at and taken care of. So, soul success is the medicine. It's going in and it's creating that success for ourselves because we're listening to what we need to look at, and what potentially might need a little light shown on it. If there's any little white lies starting to appear, whoop, getting those out of them or out of the dark, speaking to them, and not fearing the judgment or the response of anyone else around us, but knowing that we accept ourselves like we learned in Leo energy, and that we can move forward. And after we kind of go deep, after we get into the nitty gritty of it, we come into Sagittarius season. And I'll be honest, they're pretty blunt. They're very stoic. They are expansive. They like to contemplate. They are bursting with energy. They like to throw down the pirate words, and they won't hold back and nothing in life. So from November to December, we got it right here. It's your time to be unapologetically yourself, to speak to what you feel, what you see, what you think, what you believe, and to take time for silence. This is the most important thing for this Sagittarius energy. It's not just speaking and speaking and speaking, getting our ideas out there, but being the teacher and the student. As equal as you are the teacher, you must sit down, you must tune in with yourself, and you must allow that spirit, that universe, that God energy to come in and shine the light on you as well. And so think about your Sag friends in this moment. What do they love? What adventures do they go on? What rich cultural experiences do they want to dive into, whether that's just finding a different restaurant in the town or traveling to a new country? What kind of open perspective can you gain from being in cahoots with these people? And so what we'll learn during this time is the medicine of being herbalism, healing through these ancient wisdoms, these ancient practices of herbs. What can they give to us? They're from the earth. They're great. They're here to support us. And when we can just learn how to utilize them, what's best for our certain situations, we're on the right road. And when we feel like we can finally heal those aspects of ourselves, we're supported, we got our immune system up, we got adaptogens, we got herbs to help us with our stress levels, Capricorn season. And this is when we come into that new year, the Gregorian New Year. And this is when that intense energy of foundation goes extreme, experimentation extreme, and our collected data goes through the roof to create the ultimate workflow, the ultimate agenda and plan of how we're going to achieve the next step. The mission is clear. We're on the road to success and no one can stop us. It's the GOAT energy. So, can you stay consistent when you work during this time while implementing self-care? That's the biggest thing. It's having a structure with how you're operating in this universe. And think about those Capricorn friends. How many times, like maybe they've had a challenged past, but how many times have they not let themselves down? That they just go, that maybe they can be cold or that they deny certain parts, the emotions, maybe family affairs to get to the top, which we learn how to balance because when we rest ourselves, when we give ourselves enough, then we can give the world and our projects enough. So think about the cat friends and who's the boss babes in your life. And the medicine here is that sleep and the structure, being able to know when do I feel fully rested? What does that look like? What does that mean? And then having structure to the plan. Moving forward, we have Aquarius season. So January to February, this energy comes in. It's cold. We're kind of inside, but we're outside. We are embodying who we are in this now moment. We look back on the year. We just went through 10 months of transformation, big and small, big jumps, little jumps, 5 steps forward, 10 steps back, 7 steps forward, 2 steps back. And this pattern that no one can ever dictate because it is not linear. And we often forget that if we are striving for a new business or success or a new position in a job or a relationship or bettering our health, it's not going to be a walk in the park every time. There's going to be moments that are a walk in the park, and then the thunderstorms, when they come in, it's going to pour. We're going to still be outside during it. We might be a little grouchy. We might not have our umbrellas to help protect us from that rain, but it's learning to acknowledge how amazing those moments are as well and finding equality throughout the walk in the park and the walk in the rain. So with the Aquarian season, we're out there. People are like, all right, very unique individual. You got something going on and I like it. But this energy asks us to not be concerned whether anyone else approves of this or not, that we are the ones who have invented ourselves. We have our new faces on, our new fun clothes, new hairdo. We're wearing fun colors. We're getting tattoos. We are very much reinvented and we're putting a staple on it. We're wearing it like our heart on our sleeves. So think about anyone born during this time that you know of. How much how much of a humanitarian are they that they like to be there for everyone else, have these friendships, make sure that no one's being left out, but that they are unique in themselves, that they aren't trying to hide their their funness, their out there-ness, that they are definitely not like anyone else around them. It's really, really fun. So we tap into that inner genius. We're like, oh yeah, this is me. This is where we're going. I really have the ability to continue this path and keep adding to my foundation, to what my quirky house is going to be like. And at the end of it all, Pisces season, what we just got out of, this confusion. I don't know what just happened. Who am I? What are we doing? Oh my gosh, this isn't making much sense to me anymore. And ooh, I'm just going to rest. I'm going to be tender energy. It is the end of the beginning and the beginning of the end. It's a cycle. It's mourning what we've gone through, like what we've lost about ourselves, what we've released, what we've found, what we've created, what we've integrated, what we've implemented, everything we've been through. This is the month where we take the time to slow down, to be with our energies, with our emotions, and celebrate what's coming forward for Aries season. And when we think about those Pisces, it's these people are wisdom beyond their years. They're the matured ones. They have come back. They have lived every part of the zodiac, and now they don't even need to go back. They're like, yep, I've been here. I've done it 11 other times. I got full embodiment of who I am. So this full embodiment of who you are will continue to be pressed in and molded into you as you rewire that subconscious mind. Like I spoke on earlier, we undergo that hypnosis before bed. We integrate new ideas. We start to see ourselves in a different light. Oh, what does compassion mean to me? What does that look like to me? Oh, this is what I want it to be. This is how I want to act through it. Oh, now I can implement it in these new ways. And we create new chemical pathways in our mind to be able to create that in reality, embody it, do the actions, be the actions, feel that reality before it exists so that we know that it's already here. And that is the overall breakdown of the 12 signs moving through the year of the zodiac. So stand up. I want you to just shake out your hands, start to bounce, twist the head, get yourself moving and grooving a little bit. We just sat for 40 minutes in that. We learned a lot. We got a lot of knowledge flowing through us. Big inhale and then exhale. Inhale into the body, and when you're ready, exhale. Excellent job. Everyone grab a drink of water. I did just realize that I have not been recording this. Oh wait, I think I am actually. I pray I am. That's all right if it's not. I'll just do it again. So grab a drink and find what your sign is. If you know what your sign is, and just repeat this statement to yourself. This will be a part of that 6-month planner, learning how to embody these I am statements. Yes, yes, yes. That is what my heart feels. So, these are the journaling prompts. I'm going to give you 2 minutes for the first question. So, the first bit I want you to write about is, how does it feel to think about creating a year-long guide in sync with nature? How does that feel? What does that mean? What does that look like? We're going to go for 2 minutes on the clock right now. Allow yourself the time to get deep about these. What does it feel like to have a plan that will guide you throughout the year? How would it feel to be in sync with nature, to not fight the desires, to not fight when you need to rest? To allow in space for you to exist in harmony with yourself and the others around you. It's beautiful when we take the time to sit with ourselves and to get clear, to really embody what it would be like, what it is like when we devote ourselves to these new beginnings, to this blossom of who we are from the inside out. Take about 10 more seconds to finalize your thought. You can come back to this. Do not worry. This will be a recording. We're praying. So make sure you write down that question. How does it feel to think about creating a year-long guide in sync with nature? Beautiful. And coming down here, let's go to our next question. We'll take about a minute to write this. Just let your stream of consciousness go. And if you could not fail, what would you attempt? If you could not fail, what would you attempt? I get tingles thinking about this question because we don't limit ourselves in Aries season, in this Aries energy. We want to get clear and we get so defined on what it is that we are going to step into in order for that to become alive inside of us, to become a part of us, to move through us. I hope this landing for everyone. I hope you're enjoying this. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. We're doing this. Getting that energy out. All right, let's write this down. We're going for 1 minute. Finish up your last sentence, your last thoughts on the last question. What would be one realistic benchmark for each month so you could achieve that step towards your dreams? So think about what you would be able to achieve that you couldn't fail at. Now write down 1 through 6. We'll just do the first 6 months. 1 through 6. Write down one word, one quick sentence. What's a benchmark? First thing that comes to your mind of how you could achieve that dream, that goal, that next step in your plan, big or small. No limits here. It doesn't have to be this ginormous thing. It can be tiny. It can just be, I want to have better eating habits. Okay. What does that look like for 6 months? What could be your benchmark for that month? Take 10 more seconds. Jot it down, stream of consciousness. And then, last but not least, what does it mean for you to be in sync with your cycle? Like, what does that look like? What does it mean for you to be in sync? Are you sleeping well? Do you get a full 7 to 8 hours? Are you listening to your body when you start menstruating? Do you understand what kind of chemical reactions are going on during different parts of the day? How to help yourself feel fuller? Perhaps even how to live with the zodiac, how to utilize that energy. And this can be brief, this can be intricate. We got a few more seconds. Let it all out. You can come back to these after the minute's over or after our presentation is over. You're doing great. Drink some water. Water will help us flush out the stagnant energy, flush out anything that's old. I'm double fisting kombucha, the bloom edition, in my water. All purple these days. And then we move forward. And this is seasonal optimization. So again, let us just, you can't see me quite yet, but we're just going to swing our arms if you got the space. We're going to swing our bodies, our torsos, and get our energy, get our chi going from the ground up. You're doing great. We're all here. I hope this is resonating. I hope you're enjoying this. We're about to talk about how to use herbs, how to eat during the seasons to optimize our health. So, this is very important. Eating foods that are harvested, that are grown, that are consumable during these times. All right, and then just shake yourself out one more time. Ah, awesome. Good work, good work. So, as we have here, seasonal optimization. Nature has a pattern, a flow, and a rhythm. When the season changes, it's an opportunity to observe her movements, her shifting. It's an invitation to tune in. The more we feel her rhythm and let it guide our movements, the more we recognize that we are a part of that rhythm, not separate. For us humans to be vibrant and healthy, it's best if we heed the flow of wisdom of this season. And this is a quote that I got from the Urban Moonshine, I guess don't call it a magazine, but a blog site, and Jovial King, whoever you are, thank you, worded it so perfectly. When we do realize that we are in flow with her, with Mother Nature, especially as women, we can live to our optimal selves, because that's what we're meant to do, to live with the moon, with the sun, the rising and the setting, to eat the foods that are abundant in that season and the herbs to heal us when we're feeling certain types of ways. Not to say it's the only way, but to really use it as a base can help us live a very, very long and enthusiastic and filled up with love kind of life. So here we go. Why eat and drink seasonal food and herbs? Seasonal eating, freshly harvested eating. They're one and the same. Being in sync, spelt sync wrong, we're all good, not going to judge that with Mother Nature, is not only beneficial for how we use our energy, but how we receive it too. Food that is freshly harvested from an in-state source optimizes the amount of energy you'll consume from that food without the chemicals, like Roundup, toxins that are supposed to kill bugs that are supposed to help plants grow, but are really not doing our bodies any justice and are ruining the soil foundation across the country. This is a very heavy subject right now, but it's getting looked at, and people are beginning to make some step towards reversing this, which is a very, very fun knowledge. If you want any sources on that, let me know after this. And locally grown foods and goodies, they have the best taste. They have the highest nutrient count, and we're helping out our farmers. We're helping out our communities and our little economies. We're going from the ground up instead of the top down. So, what does this look like? So, this is for the seasons. We go from spring, summer, fall, winter. And in the 6-month coaching container, I have a women's nutrition guidebook where I go deeper into the herbs, into the seasonal eating, into what to have on your plate for every meal, what kind of support the different foods can have for us, what kind of vitamins and minerals that we want to be ensuring in our diet every day, whether that's from these plant sources or from herbs or from supplements that are organic and made out of the best things. So here we go. This is just my very easy and quick way to explain it here. So in the spring, the signs of the zodiac, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, full of life, new beginnings, the seeds are planted, and a very supportive tool during this time that you can practice, that you can utilize for these 3 months, really dial in non-negotiable values. What is that? I do a workshop on this pretty often. I believe I'm going to start make a recording of it and have that be something available to everyone, because this has changed my life. Non-negotiable values. When I had my 6-week mind body alignment course in last December to January, my group of women and I, this was our first talk, and it is getting to the bottom of what we are looking for in another partner, down to the very bit, like, okay, this is what I cannot negotiate. Honest communication, equality, whatever that is for you. And then we flip the script and we go, oh, but if you're asking that of someone else, are you embodying that yourself? Like, are you equally sharing that with your partner? Like, if you're asking for it, you have to be living in it. You cannot get something you are not giving. That's not how the world works. If you give, or if you're just wanting to take and take and take and ask and receive, but you're not willing to give anything, it's not going to be as smooth sailing. There's going to be some bumps in the foundation. It's going to fall over because you put toothpicks in there instead of some solid cement or logs or whatever you're putting for your foundation. So, very valuable. What else can we do? We can do HIIT workouts. We can do hot movements, hot yoga. Great way to detox the body, get the sweat out. Sprint, quick, explosive movements are our favorites. Cycling really fast, also very great. Fartleys, where you're sprinting, then you jog for a block, and then you sprint. Whatever works for you. But those are my suggestions for this time of the year. And then healing activities. Also writing down the yearly goals, all the months, writing down a goal for each month that you can add, perhaps maintain all the goals throughout the year. If you have organization in your life, that won't be too heavy of a topic, but do what you can. Don't overwhelm yourself. setting intentions for each month as the months come, sitting with yourself, giving yourself time upon that first day to go, what is it that I'm calling in? What is it that I want this month to be? And the habits that we want to integrate. So I want to read one book a month. I want to stop biting my nails. I want to pay it forward, whatever it is. It can be big, small, whatever works for you. It's learning to trust ourselves with our creativity and our energy. So let's talk about the herbs. So this is coming from just general knowledge. One, if you are someone who has any other health complications, please take this lightly. Do not just go and run with it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a certified herbalist. I am just someone who experiments in my own ways. I'm not advising anything. I am merely taking what has worked for me, suggestions from other knowledgeable people, and I'm sharing it. So if you have some underlying issues in your health, diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, talk to an herbalist. I have an herbalist I can recommend you to. She's fantastic. She's helped me with my hair. As you might know, in what month was that? January, found out I was severely anemic. It makes sense. I was completely involved with a different part of my life during that time. If you know, you know. Talk about that later on. But I was denying myself. I wasn't living in this presentation. I was cut off, and it pushed me back in. Another reason why I'm super passionate about sharing this with you, so you don't end up like me and lose 80% of your hair and are deprived of energy and are running on nothing. We don't need to live like that. So please, if you want to speak to an herbalist, have a free consultant, let me know. I can provide you the information. So, supportive herbs for spring to help with that detoxification. Bitters for cleansing, support that liver and digestion. Did you know, fun fact, the liver has 900 functions? 900 functions for the liver. That's insane. Moving forward, red clover. So I currently put clover, ground clover, in most of my drinks. Hot water, my morning matcha. If I drink a cup of coffee with some coconut milk or some coconut oil, I'm throwing in clover. One, it can help eliminate and get rid of any kind of parasites that might be in the body or might be in the system based off of what we're eating or the coffee. Sometimes coffee can have, what are they, mycotoxins, and that can be little organisms that grow mold, little spores. So that helps eliminate those, along with sunflower, pumpkin seed. Pumpkin seeds can help eliminate those as well. So adding those into your diet, if that works for you, can help with minerals, skin, getting rid of any little yuckers in the body. Dandelion, rejuvenating, full of vitamins. Burdock root, antioxidants. Artichoke, super delicious, full of protein, can help with that gallbladder, the liver. We're really working to cleanse the body in spring. We're fresh, we're new. We gotta just get it all out. And I recommend, if you haven't done a cleanse before, please do your research. Talk to some dietitian or nutrition expert on it before you dive in, so you're not losing out on anything your body needs during that time. Be supported, support yourself, do your research. Can't emphasize that enough. And then seasonal foods to help support you that you can find that are harvested during this time, grow best during this time. Asparagus, leeks, watercress, nettles, radishes, strawberries, fennel, all these things that are just popping up. And fennels, you can actually chew on fennel and it'll give you a little bit of taste if you are a gum chewer, if you're feeling hungry, but you're not hungry. Maybe you're bored, or maybe you're overwhelmed, or maybe you're under stress. Chew on a little bit of fennel seed and see how that works for you, if that subsides any hungers. So that is spring. We want to detox. We want to get that energy out, hot movements, getting our non-negotiable values on the floor, on the plate, and supporting ourselves with those yummies, supporting our community as best as we can. Then we jump into summer. Whose favorite season is summer? My favorite season is summer. I love summer. I love winter, but I love summer. Again, a little biased. My birthday's in the summer. Excuse me. Needed that. So in the summer, our supportive tool, mirror work. Especially when we do that inner child healing and we come into that aligned pleasure and intuitive eating. That's a whole bunch of energies of I am worthy enough, I need to release these, or I want to release these blockages, I'm doing the work, I'm courageous, I'm being brave, I'm taking those actions that make me feel good, I'm saying yes to myself, I'm learning what that means, and then Virgo, dialing that in, being very fixated on the details of how to make that a lifestyle. And the mirror work can really help you rehearse that, see yourself living it, acknowledge that it's reality and not just in your head, not just walking around, not seeing yourself. It takes a lot for us to meet ourselves in the mirror. And if you feel like you have some resistance, reach out and I'd love to help you work through that. So, also when we are in the summertime, it's hot, very, very sweaty. we don't actually want to do the workouts we were doing in the spring. We want to tone it down. We want to do less strenuous events, maybe some endurance events, swimming, hiking, running, some team sports. We want to feel like we're a part of something without being overheated, without getting our bodies too turned up. I remember running across country and sweating buckets because it's dead of summer and I'm doing this run club. And that's great and all, but if we're not cooling down properly afterwards, in stretching, but also in what we're eating and how we're getting ourselves cleaned up after, can really affect us in the long run. And what are some healing activities? So those are supportive tools to help us move through that season, but what's a healing activity? So doing something that scares you once a week. Time to practice that courage. So when we play more, we make it a game, we get to create that alter ego. We get to take that practice and live it. We get to wake up in the morning, decide we're going to go skydiving, and go, all right, I'm Isabel Wellman here, but I'm Vesper over here. That's my alter ego's name. That's who I step into when I want to be the person that I know I am in the future, but then Isabel comes back. It's really a fun game. So, along with that, I like to do phone reminders with affirmations, reminding yourself to say out loud certain things and ask yourself questions like, what would a millionaire decide? What would a millionaire do in this moment? Make a decision. Successful people, wealthy people, they make a decision because a decision is taking responsibility faster. When we are confused, when we don't know what to do, when we say, I don't know, when there's not clarity, we are subconsciously or unconsciously choosing to not take responsibility. And I say that with a lot of love because I had to work through that one and it was a pain in the tush, but it really is beneficial. Some supportive herbs. So if you've ever heard of the sister signs to yoga, Ayurveda, some Ayurvedic practices are to stay cool. So these are different things that I've incorporated. So amalaki, it is a super potent vitamin C fruit, but it also antioxidants that can cool you off from the inside out. Sandalwood, rub it on the skin, smells super great. Do some lymph node draining, help the circulatory system go. Let's get some rose into our diets. Rose is amazing, pretty safe. It is great when you are about to hop into your menstrual cycle. It can soothe the pains. I drink rose hips and rose petals, loose leaf. And the microbial, thank you, world, is a great support when we do have different foods and fruits and substances coming in. So just keeping everything balanced is the key. And then We got our supportive foods. So salt and water, wake up, glass of water, salt, lemon. It's going to help neutralize our tummies. Going to help us actually absorb and be hydrated during the day. It's going to absorb the water that we're drinking and not just being flushed through. There's a difference between drinking a lot of water and not being hydrated, and then drinking a lot of water and it actually making a difference in our bodies. You got your basil and blueberries, boysenberries, blackberries, bee berries, corn, chickpeas, hummus, a great alternative. Have some pretzels or some pita chips without bad oils, which we will hop into. Summer squash and zucchini. Just fill your gut with these really cooling and fun fruits and vegetables. Very easy to get your hands on, especially because there's so many farmer markets going on during that time. A great time to support your community. So we're about halfway through. We're getting through this. Thank you so much. We're going to be done here soon. We're just going to hop through the rest of these. And I hope it's landing. I hope you're gaining some kind of wisdom. I hope you're taking notes. If you're on the newsletter, this will be available again after the workshop. So thank you for being here. Please stick around. You're in for a treat still. Thank you. So we hop into fall. Everyone loves fall. Everyone. Okay, maybe not everyone, but fall is such a warm and cozy kind of time of the year. It's the Libra, Scorpio, Sag season. It is where we have our supportive tool of smudging, collecting native plants around your area to honor the ancestors from that area and clearing the air, clearing the negativity, taking everything you've learned thus far in the last 6 months and now jump into the next 6 months through the cooler time of the year, the inward time, the we're getting ready to hibernate time, and honoring our body as we make this transition, honoring the mind, honoring the soul. Pilates, yoga, cycling, great ways to get outside, to be in nature, to be in the colors, to witness the practice of death and rebirth. Because we've seen the growth of everything through the spring and summer, and now everything is going to start to die off for the most part. So, what are the healing activities for this time of the year that you can implement? Learn and adopt a daily breathwork technique. So, during Taurus season, that's the method. Anyways, we are having a practice that is through breathwork, being conscious of our breath, seeing that when we have heightened emotions, that we often go, I need a second, I need to breathe. Oh, really? Our emotions are so connected to our breath. We can get really worked up, really hot in the face, have that panic attack feeling come on, or we can feel like our chest has fallen and we can't breathe and we're devastated. And when we have a practice that's mindful, that is intentional, that we can use and implement in those moments, we're going to feel and see a decrease in those anxieties, in the frustration, in our reaction time. And so learning to adopt that breath work is super, super potent for us as we have all this death and rebirth happening around us. It's going to help us find that center, coming back to who we truly are and not acting out of those emotions that can make us look like someone we're not at our core. We can go outside, invite friends for a good forage, go out, get some mushrooms, create something with your hands, paint, do some pottery. I want to do pottery so bad. I have not done it ever in my life, but it's on my list. And planting seeds for next year. So just dropping little hints. Oh, let me look back at my plan. Is this working for me? What do I want to make a tweak to? I'm allowed to ditch things if I want. I've grown them, I've seen them, I know where they're headed, and I don't align. Goodbye. Or I love it, I do align, let's keep going. Let's make it even better. And then the support of herbs during this time. So our immunity is going to be a huge part of this season. It's going to get colder. It is about to be a time where we might not move as much outside. We might not be getting our heart rate up as much if we're not consistently in the gym or a CrossFit community or biking or whatever the case, swimming. So we want to really keep up that support. So elderberry, really great, ancient, amazing, The divine feminine, super good for all things rejuvenation in the body. We have our ginger, a yummy spice, especially during this time. Echinacea. As a kid, I loved echinacea. I drank Ovaltine, and every morning in my Ovaltine, I'd ask my mom if I could put echinacea in it. And I'd drop a huge, the full dropper of echinacea. I was a funny little kid. Hawthorn. We have so many supportive herbs during this time for the heart, our physiology, the emotions, our GI systems, how we digest. Things are going to start to slow down. So let's make sure that everything is balanced and continuing to work how they want to. And then the supportive foods that resonate with this season, dark leafy greens, high in iron. We got that acorn squash, resonates with the fall. Beets, delicious, help with that blood circulation. Pumpkin, pears, cranberries. I am going to get lost in the mouthwater soon if I keep talking about this. But really great ways to get the nutrients and minerals and vitamins that you need to support you during this time. Because we come back into winter, the season we just left behind. We said sayonara to, and we have the Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces energy coming in. We have that sleep and structure, the inner genius, and the subconscious mind all in one. The supportive tool, like I mentioned earlier, hypnosis. I hope that this is landing and that you have an open mind to this and you don't just go, hypnosis? I don't want anyone to go messing around with my brain. That's not what this is. It's really being consciously aware of choosing how you want to think and believe and feel about yourself. So, I love the routine of having a before bed ritual that's the same, that has been a little difficult for me with all this traveling, but I can tap into and ground myself as I'm making these different adjustments in my travels. So this can look like like having your goals written down and reviewing your goal every single night. Speaking it out loud, saying it, feeling what that's like for about 1 to 2 minutes, envisioning what that looks like to you, thinking about getting a step closer about that next benchmark without having this weight of I have to do this, but I want to do this. This is coming to me mentality. Reviewing with yourself of your day's tasks. Did you stay on schedule? Next, planning your tomorrow the night before. That's a huge one. You're someone like me and you have a lot of ideas all the time. And you want to do everything at once. Having a solid plan of attack where you have it in your phone calendar or you have it written down. I love writing things down on paper and then in my phone. I don't know why. I understand it's not as efficient, but there's just something about writing with a pen and paper that is super great. But phones, we're in the technology age. I've accepted it, and adding that to my phone makes all the difference. Then I'm not overlapping my time and overworking. Not good for an Isabel. So, doing all of those things and then asking myself in my subconscious mind, what is it that I need an answer to? So if there's something that I'm stuck on or I'm not sure how to make a decision on, asking that before bed, right before I fall asleep, throwing on my hypnosis, and then laying down and not answering it, but allowing it to come up the next day in my dreams, if you're a vivid dreamer, maybe in the week ahead. So that's a really great supportive tool, a before bed ritual. Balance your actions, reset yourself. For every action you take, insert a period of relaxation. Isn't that great? We get to actually schedule first when we take a break. That is the difference between structure and overworking when we are in the winter season. It's dark, our circadian rhythms are a little tighter and not as lively as in the summertime. Then the healing activities. We get to treat ourselves. One massage a month. Get the blood circulation flowing. Get yourselves moving. Detox yourself of anything that's stagnant, especially in this season. Allow yourself to cold plunge if you're into that. Super great for the body. Oh my gosh, so many benefits. Clarity will kick you out of a funk, can help with overall immunity, helps your suffer muscle. The more you can suffer and build your resilience, the more you're going to be able to take on from the world. Your fight and flight mode won't kick in as fast or intensely, or cortisol is just pumping through your veins. All the blood rushes to your hands, your feet, your head, and then your inner body, where your organs, your heart, your lungs, literally all of your systems live. They're getting depleted of nutrients, oxygen, blood, because we are undertrained in how we react to our outside environment. And Lord help us all if we have not seen some wildness in the last couple of years, and we continue to. Having a practice that grounds you will make a big difference here. So, supportive verbs moving forward. We're doing great. We're doing great. We're almost there. We're more than halfway. So we got supportive herbs. Holy basil, also known as tulsi. We have those rose hips. Again, like I said earlier, similar to rose, just a different part of the plant. Sage, thyme, getting up that vitamin C, making sure we have all of our B vitamins on lock. Supportive seasonal fruits. Citrus fruits are actually very much in their peak season during the winter. So trying to find them from as local of a place as you can. Maybe not Mexico, maybe just finding them in another state like California or somewhere near in the US if you do live in the US. It's a little bit better than a different country. They hold more energy, more nutritional value because they're at their peak. When things are picked early, they don't reach their peak. They don't hold as much nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and then when we get them, they're ripe, but because they were picked early, that growth part inside them stops. So, fun science there. We also have our apples, our tangerines, cabbage, broccoli, carrots, rosemary. You can make really fun mocktails during the winter season with pure cranberry juice. You're not getting all of that added sugar, some rosemary. Delicious. Maybe add some sparkling water for a less potent cranberry taste. And then, add some honey. That's a great natural sweetener. And then we have our important vitamins and minerals. So these are just a couple I wanted to add. These are things that I currently take that have boosted my vitality, my energy, my clarity from the inside out. Especially having been told I was severely anemic months ago and feeling wildly different. So just take a look at this, drink some water as you read these, and take a big, deep inhale and exhale as I choke on my water. So I really like Vitex fruit down here as we hop into our menstrual section of this conversation to regulate my period. I used to not have a period. We'll talk more about that very soon, but that was one of the things that helped me come out of chronic BV and yeast infections. If you're someone who experiences some wild things going on there, that can help. Trace minerals. If you're not someone who does eat a lot of fruits, vegetables, very important to get your trace minerals. And there's actually a brand, Trace Minerals, really great, has everything you need, has, gosh, what are they? What do I want to say? Like different salts, sodium, magnesium, sulfur, all the goodness for your soul. And then, of course, you don't need to just take these. You can find these in supplements, but you can find these in the foods you eat. Dark leafy greens for iron. Gosh, fish. You can eat some sort of fish during the week. That'll be great for those omega-3s. You eat some liver during the week. That will just boost your entire nutrient intake all around. But really learning that foods, supplements that are vital, organic, whole, they're going to help us heal and live lives that are not full of aches and pains and chronic illness. Of course, even take our situations. And then in addition, having healthy fats to fuel us during the day. So fats are not going to make us fat. I mean, of course, if we just sit there eating butter and oil all day, it could not be a great thing if we're not moving our bodies. But if we want to prolong how our fast in the morning, so I mention it later on, I believe, but intermittent fasting. Everyone's in this crazy intermittent fasting phase, but in my own experience and opinion, especially for women, it's not always the best thing. And what intermittent fasting really is reducing the hours that you are actively eating. So if you are eating as much as you were in a 15-hour period as you are in an 8 to 10-hour period, that's not going to make a big difference because you're still eating the same amount of food. It's not reducing anything. Where when you're adding intermittent fasting into your day, you are cutting yourself off at 7, 8 p.m., allowing the body to digest for 2 to 3 hours before going to sleep, intermittent fasting through the night, waking up at 6 or with the sun, and then I pop a spoonful of coconut oil in my drink or in my mouth if I'm not putting it in my drink. Swish around some extra virgin olive oil to do a little oil pulling, get the bacteria out of my mouth, and I'm gonna be full for another 2, 3, 3.5 hours before I eat my breakfast/lunch. So that is really how that works. Eating less is actually better for the body because we're not meant to just be shoving our faces every single day, overeating. Our bodies actually really work well. The brain functions much better with much more clarity when we have a little bit of hunger creeping up on us and in our bodies. And if you are feeling like you need a snack or you are eating, drink a cup of water first. And if you're not satisfied after 15 minutes from drinking that 12, 16 ounces of water, eat a little something. But that's the whole point of that. So having those fats right in the morning can be really beneficial. Cooking with the fats, please don't cook with extra virgin olive oil. That is not something we cook with. It's virgin for a reason. You put it on your food afterwards. It's amazing for you. But when we heat it up, we're losing the benefits of the oil. So moving onward, that's my oil rant. And everyone just start jumping. We're almost there. We're almost there. We're hitting the circadian rhythm and we're here for it. So why does this matter? Just shake it out, rub your hands. Doing great. We're here. Just keep moving just a little bit longer. If you ever feel like you are stagnant or you're tired, you're at your desk and you're just getting slouchy, stand up and start jumping. You're going to be moving all of the yuck from the head to the toes, getting it out, circulating the blood through the body, and energized, way more energized. Take a drink of water. Important. Lots of water breaks here. All right, here we go. You're on this trip for a reason. So, circadian rhythm. What is it? It's a biological sleep and wake cycle. When we're in sync with nature's cycle, the sun rising, the sun setting, lowering the lights down low, putting on some candles, turning off the screens early. We're allowing our bodies to live how they evolutionary, like biologically want to live. We didn't have all this fun stuff to use back in the day. And it's impacted us in not great ways. When we have these bright screens in our eyes and in our face late into the night, we're actually suppressing our melatonin from being released, which is what helps us get to sleep. When we don't have a couple hours before between dinner and sleeping, we're going to be a little restless. Our digestive system is going to also suppress that melatonin from kicking in. It's going to start a new cycle that's like, whoa, I don't really understand, but I'm going to try to make this right. So let's go for it. And it can just put us out of whack. So we want to function optimally. And that's what this helps us with. And it has so many control systems that it hits our muscles, recovery time, our rest and restart, for our immune system, ovulation, digestion, exactly what I just said. And then what does an in-sync circadian rhythm look like? Waking up at that first light, like I said, allowing our gene clocks to start naturally, normally, regular routine. So if you can have a similar routine each day where you fluctuate maybe 2 hours max, you're really going to be dialing in your systems, your functions, what's chemicals are released at what time. All right, I wake up, my melatonin's going to stop. I'm going to get some cortisol to start my day. I'm going to have, breakfast. I'm going to be able to digest. Then I'm going to be in mid-afternoon. I'm going to go for my workout, however this is. But then you're going to get into the system where your body knows how to respond. Your body wants to maximize efficiency. The more efficient you can make your day through your actions, the more efficient your body can help you. So please see what that would look like for you. Experiment with it. Get outside, enjoy nature, wake up and don't go on your phone. Just try to sustain from looking at it. If you can, get right outside. Just stand on your porch. Go for a little walk around the block. Stand outside your door and look at what's around you and just feel the air on your skin. Bundle up if it's cold. But get that exposure. Get the sunlight on your eyes. That's going to make a big difference to your body, how you feel. And then if you're drinking caffeine, try to cut it at noon. You don't keep, your body is going to be well on its way. When we start to drink caffeine post noon, we're going to jeopardize our systems. We're going to be over functioning. We're going to be out of the rhythm. And we just don't need it. So try to go for that decaf if you really just want that taste of coffee or a decaf tea. And then eat later in the AM, earlier in the PM, what I chatted about intermittent fasting, low to no lights, 7 to 8. You don't gotta sit in the dark, but if you can, have your blue blocking glasses. I stole these from my partner for the most part. I really love them. They look a little silly. They're not my style, but they help, and that's what matters. So if you really like your style, find a pair that work for you. Blue Blockers is a great brand that have great styles. And then a regular nightly routine to go in coherence with your morning routine. So kind of what I spoke about earlier with with the hypnosis, being able to go through your next day schedule. What does that look like? Your goals. Begin to journal, have a little meditation practice. Maybe you read a book before bed. You want to read a book a month. Make it a goal to read a chapter a night. There's less than 30 chapters, 29 chapters. You're probably well on your way to reading a book a month. So wind yourself down. Invite your partner to do it, your kids, your friends. Make it fun. Moving forward, we are so close to the finish, but before we finish, just look at this beautiful, an easy to see system of 6 a.m. wake up all the way to the next morning. But this is what is happening in the body. Optimizing our day can look like this. If we can get into the rhythm of, following a system that works for us, we can start living with the cycles, and it's going to make us feel good. We're going to remember we're not separate from anyone else. We're going to feel more connected, more grounded. That's what I love about this. If you are on the newsletter, you'll get this. You'll be able to print this out. If you want a copy of this, shoot me an email. I can also send it to you that way. Or you can just Google online, Circadian Rhythm diagram. So with that being said, the consequences of being out of mood, I touched on these briefly. I won't hound this too far, but we have a lower mood. We struggle to maintain healthy weight when we don't get enough sleep, especially our immune systems are weak because we're not fully rested. We're not getting into that deep REM. Our melatonin doesn't release on the right times, and then it doesn't stop at the right times in the morning, thus leading us to waking up and feeling tired and drowsy and groggy. Eating bed right before dinner, I talked about this, then the melatonin also gets suppressed because our digestion just kicked in, and it needs about 2 to 3 hours to finalize that. Overall, the toxins, the free radicals in our bodies, they're gonna linger. They're going to make an impact in a not positive way, and they're gonna hinder our development of healthy living. That's how we get those chronic symptoms to start coming up. And then last but not least, the menstrual cycle. We're at the end of this. We're an hour and a half deep. We are loving our lives. This is amazing. I'm feeling so good. I hope this is landing. I hope this is impacting you. I hope you can take one nugget of information from this. Just one. Just one. So, the menstruation cycle. For all the ladies out there, you got a man, a partner. You're not a lady, but you got lady parts. Welcome. This is for everyone. When we can actually invite our male counterparts into learning about the menstrual cycle, what we need as women or as those with menstruation cycles in our lives, this is crucial. And communication's key. So, how do we communicate this? And what is the menstrual cycle? This is what helps our bodies get ready for birthing a child, as most of us probably know. Typically a 28 to 35 day cycle. Not many people have a 28-day cycle. You can easily track this with an app on your phone. Yes, you can do it by paper as well, but for what I do, I actually use an app called Stardust. I've used an app called Clue as well. I like them both. They're both super great, easy to use. It gets more consistent the longer you track it, and it's very fun to see and reflect on what your body goes through the different months. And I'm actually coming into my cycle. I'm in the last week before my cycle hits. So I'm beginning to taper down. This is one of the last intense things I'm doing for the week. And I'm very excited to come into my rest zone. So this is when that egg is developed, released, uterus lining builds up, then it sheds. If pregnancy isn't in the cards, then the sacred bleed will continue on its way. Take a drink. Again, please stay hydrated as we go over the hormones. So you can begin just looking at this diagram. This is a screenshot from my Stardust app. It just shows very simply where or what hormone is what. So estrogen at the beginning of the cycle begins low. After we get out of the bleed and come to the follicular stage, we begin to gain our estrogen, the egg is dropped, and then we have our estrogen go down, and then we have a little bump and we go out. And then our testosterone, we're in our ovulation stage, the egg is dropped, and boom, we go back to our flat line, and so forth and so on. So estrogen, it's what regulates most of the things in our bodies as women, from creating babies, that skin and bone health, and our like our breast tissues. That's how it is, I guess, like reproduced and used and made anew. It is how our cardiovascular system can also be affected. Our mood, it's a pretty big deal. Estrogen is the powerhouse to the woman body, just as the mitochondria is the powerhouse to the cell. A fun little analogy Stardust uses to explain that I really, really loved. And it just helps enable the functions, a healthy function, those ovaries, the vagina, the uterus, the breasts, keeps us working. Men also have estrogen, just lower amounts, just like we have testosterone, but we make smaller amounts as a female body. And then progesterone, created during the ovulation, it is what will basically allow an egg to be brought down to the fallopian tubes and then ready to be attached for growth, to be turned into a baby, if that is in the cards for us. However, if it's not fertilized, those progesterone levels will drop and the cycle will move onward as normal. And then the testosterone. This is happening in the ovulation stage. This is where we have our party mode comes on. We want to go out, we want to see people, we got high energy, we can get anything done, we have a high sex drive, and we just have like a maximum strength in this time, is how I like to see it. And then this is just a little bit more in depth about each cycle. So we have 4 cycles, or excuse me, 4 phases to the cycle. And so in the menstrual phase, I apologize for my typo, is the first day of your bleed. A bleed typically lasts 3 to 4 days, up to 8 days. And that's a pretty normal length of time. If it goes past 8 or it's lower than 3, you might want to get that looked at or checked out or ask a doctor about that. Body objective during this time to just clear out that blood and uterine lining that has been built up over the last, 22 days. And then this is important, supports your body during the sacred time to rest, move slow, be tender, don't have a bunch on your plate, communicate with your partner that you might need extra help, or your family or your kiddos. Hey, would you mind just doing this for me? Or like, this is how I'm feeling. The more that we can communicate our feelings in general, not even if you're on your menstrual cycle, just the more we can do that in general, the more people are going to know, oh, they don't have everything together. Okay, I can step up and help. It's a game changer, something I've learned to do in my own life that I still struggle with at times to ask for help, and it can change the game. And then making sure that we get the right nutrients. So dark leafy greens, eliminate that coffee, try to drink those teas like raspberry leaf, that vitex root, rose tea, get some extra sleep, treat yourself to a bath, give yourself a little oil massage, eat things that are going to make you good, cozy, warm, read a book, take a step back. You got this. Your body's doing a whole lot for you. And if you were conceiving a baby, yeah, we really need to dial in the rest because that's probably the most amazing thing the human body can do. And so we come to the follicular phase. Estrogen, testosterone levels, they rise, that egg is being created, the brain signals that to the body, and the rodeo's going. So nourishing the body properly with proteins, fats to support the growth of that is optimal, especially if you are in the world of conceiving a child. Super, super, super important to make sure you know what's going in so that babe has a lot of optimized nutrients go into it. And then listening to what you need during that time. Having a plan of attack for how you want to, you just came out of the menstrual phase. Now you're coming back into your energy. How do you want that week to look, the next 2 weeks, the 3 weeks before you come back into the menstrual cycle phase? Nettles are great for this. I love to drink a mixture of stinging nettle, raspberry leaf, and oat straw. And right now I also have mullein added in there. It's yummy, it's easy, helps with stress, helps relax the body, helps with any kind of cramping as I come into that phase myself. Right now you're amping up, you're getting more energy. If you can hear dogs, I apologize, but really allowing yourself to be supported, full blown. And then the ovulation phase. This is where that egg is released. Sorry, I want to move that so you can see the words. So ovulation occurs at the halfway point of your cycle. I do have a diagram so you can actually see this as a picture. I'm a visionary. I love visuals. That's why I created this presentation for y'all. We're right at the end, so I hope you're getting what you need from this. So day 14, day 16, that's when that egg is being released. And then it's about a 1 weekish amount of time before that is dropped into the tubes. You might feel warmer, the temp in the body increases, and you feel like going out and about. It reminds me of if we were animals and we were mating, that we would be on the prowl, we'd be doing our dances, we would be out and about, ready to receive what we need to create life. Our mood might shift over this phase from high to low to high to energized to maybe a little moody. Nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that you're trusting that whatever you're feeling is what you're feeling and to act appropriately. You can totally allow yourself to get a decaf latte and watch that movie. Again, leafy greens, high dense magnesium, iron foods, fatty foods, fish. Get all the omega-3s that you can to support yourself. And then if you're feeling stiff, if you're feeling some tenderness in the hips, the low back, because you are releasing that egg, just do some gentle yoga, do some hip openers, some stretches. It feels good to be back and out dancing in the world. Because the next phase is that luteal phase. And this is the week before you begin the menstrual cycle again, week or so. So our uterine walls are thickening again, getting ready for that shed, the proteins, the fats, the warming foods, helping our bodies for that menstruation. Through all of these stages, we need to drink ample amounts of water. So I like to say you want to drink half your body weight in water at least. This hydro flask is about 32 ounces. So if I drink 2.5 of these, I'm well on my way to being hydrated. And if we can add salt into that water, some Himalayan salt to be exact, some Celtic salt, it's going to help us absorb the water and be truly hydrated. A lot of us are actually naturally, what's the word, like under or chronically dehydrated because we are not able to absorb the water. And then avoid alcohol, caffeine, especially if you experience PMS. Try that out. It's a great experiment. I would go in waves of getting pains there. I have a lot of friends that get some intense pains, and after trying that out, it was a no-brainer for them. They definitely cut that in half at least and saw incredible differences. Everybody is different. Everybody, especially in women, very different. Things are going to work for some and not others. So experimenting and finding out what works for you is the best. Just a few more tips here, like bloating. Get some dandelion root. Allow that to help you decrease that bloat, help your digestion. Burdock root, increase the hormones, detoxify that liver like we spoke about earlier. Light exercise can help you wind down and be ready to be in this restful period. Kind of get that, what's the word, get your hay fever out. And just listen. Overall, your body care, very important. Rest days are ahead, but meditate, focus, journal, do what you need to do to wind down your week. And then I have this really fun visual to make it more digestible because I'm a visual kind of gal. So how we have this set up is I refer this to the months of the seasons, excuse me, just like we were talking about earlier. Living with the seasons, our cycle, nature, food, astrology, excuse me, it's all living in the seasons. And we're coming up to our last slides, I pinky promise. But if you think about menstruation, so as you can see, there's some lines going on, first of all. So this line coming diagonal, there are two parts. So that follicular phase and the luteal phase, those are two major phases of the cycle, the menstruation cycle. And then menstruation and ovulation overlap in both of those pie parts, as I'll say right now. So menstruation is like winter, we're hibernating. We're going in, we're like little animals, we're sleeping, we're making sure we are full up on fats and our proteins and our iron and our magnesium so that we can sleep well and deep. We go through that motion, day 5 to 8 comes, we're off, the bleed, it stopped, we're seeing it come less and less, we're spotting, and then we come into day 8, day 11, and the brain's triggering the body to create that egg. Our hormones are rising, we're gaining energy, and we're blooming, just like we're feeling this energy perhaps right now with spring equinox starting today. We feel a jump in our bodies. And then day 12 to 17, ovulation. This is when we are gun ho. We are ready to go. We're like, hey, world, this is me. I got energy. I got testosterone peaking in my body. The egg has been created. I have pitched it out. It is out in the world. It's in the fallopian tubes. We are here. And it's like this excitement. It's the opposite of winter. It's summer. How, just reflect on that for a moment. How do you feel in the winter versus summer? And then we come in that luteal phase. It's like fall. Again, things are beginning to die off. kind of build up for the menstruation cycle. We want to eliminate the things that are harsh on the body, get rid of the negativity, detox. That lining detaches, and then our menstruation starts all over again. And we go through the cycle between 28 and 35 days, give or take. Again, if you have experience with a cycle and it's not super healthy, or it's irregular, or you notice that it could be painful, these are just some signs of irregular menstruation. There's different causes, there's different things you can do. Some are more serious and dangerous than others, but if you're having a skipped period, you're looking at the queen of what that used to be. I was so involved in exercise and overworking myself and not eating enough, dealing with slight anorexia, having, very little body fat because of my mentality as a young teenage girl in the society of the masculine without any of this awareness in my life. I was like, oh, the less periods, the better. I'm in sports. I don't want to deal with that. I hate wearing tampons. I never really learned how to do any of the girl stuff. Let's just try to eliminate that. No, damage, years of damage was in my body that I am now very much so taking the time to renew. And so this can also happen because of birth control. It can be not a super negative thing, just because some birth control does suppress the function, the normal function of our hormones. And then things in the body are weird. We're gaining weight. We're getting crazy skin reactions. If you're noticing any of that, I recommend just coming off of birth control, sticking with your cycle, knowing when you ovulate so that you aren't being sexually active during that time, playing it safe, wearing protection when you are engaging and involving yourself with another, and just being more intentional about who you choose as a partner to begin with. That's a super important note that I wish I would have learned as a younger kid. That was never spoken to me. I had a very, very not much knowing about this side of life. And so I hope that I can reach anyone younger than me and help you make some better decisions than I made as a young kid. Not that I made any mistakes or screw ups, but I wish I would have known. Simple as that. And then also, like intense cramps, if you do notice that you have intense cramps, anything that's abnormal, like short or long periods, this can also be due to if you have an IUD. So, gosh, I've heard so many horror stories about the IUDs in women. And my own experience was that I got mine put in after a pretty traumatic event, went a couple, like 3 years with it in, and that's when the chronic BV and yeast infections were happening. I got it out a month before I saw the naturopathic doctor. It felt like heaven, like complete freedom when that was released from my body. And I was happier. I was more in control of my mind, of my thoughts, of my emotions. I felt like I could do more. I felt like I was trapped in a sense. And I hope that makes sense for anyone who does have an IUD. But I've heard horror stories of it getting attached to the abdomen and needing surgery and that being painful. People having much worse scenarios happen that I won't speak on, but there does need to be an awareness about the dangers of that. And in my opinion, I do not believe that we should be suppressing any of our natural and animal, what's the word? Operations of our body. Like that's a natural thing that we're supposed to love and let happen and admire and honor. Back in the day, our ancestors, the old tribes, they would honor women on their bleed. They were seen as very mystic, very wise. They understood the cycle. They were living with nature. There's a different healing layer to it. So just really, really cool, really fun knowledge and awareness of what a normal and regular cycle is. And so that's it. We did it. We did it under 2 hours. So this is, of course, the next step. So I presented something I've been giving all week. my workouts, guided workouts on Instagram. I couldn't get the live on Facebook though. Work. I wasn't doing it over Zoom. I didn't want to bother with it. And take a drink. I'm going to take a drink before I get carried away. We're almost done. We're almost done. 2 more slides. If you want to leave, thank you. I love you. I honor you for sticking here with me today. I'm so grateful. This is my first time with a huge workshop and 6-month container in this format. I feel very aligned, and I trust whatever is to come from this will come from it. I just feel very, very happy and in alignment with where I'm at and doing the dang thing, showing up and role modeling what that looks like, what that feels amazing. So thank you for sticking around. So this coaching container, who is it for? What does it look like? How much does it cost? And how will you go about signing up? So for women who understand that they have healing to do or they have been healing and they know they have so much potential they haven't tapped into, that there's something inside them that they have birthed, that they've been carrying, that they don't know how to express it or illuminate it or get it in the system, get it rolling. And in honor of Aries season, I picked this time very intentionally because we are allowing ourselves to bloom, to be in a ritual, in a practice, in a container that is going to support us, keep us accountable in a real and not rude way, that is empathetic, that is full of love and grace and tenderness and insight and trust. That is the most important piece in my coaching, is that I teach you how to trust your own self again, your intuition, what you want to do with your life, following your own rhythm, getting in sync with yourself, with what's around you, doing what's best for you so that the world around you can also be optimized. Because when we don't heal ourselves, when we aren't doing for us first, everyone around us is going to get the backlash. You get the backlash, and then what you think is helping everyone else is actually stumbling them and not serving them in your highest way. So that is really the big meat and cheese and bread of my coaching, is getting you to be in this confident space of self-belief and love. It is for those who want to divine this divine 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 feminine energy, to have this enthusiastic essence to themselves again, to know that there's so much more beyond the cookie cut container we've been told about and taught, the paradigms that we've been, I suppose, birthed into, and not out of anyone's fault, but just knowing that there's more and we get to learn about it. And it's an open perspective. We get to take what feels good, we get to leave what doesn't. We get to implement and heal and release the blockages that keep us from achieving what we want to achieve. And then positively impact those around us, those coming after us, the young women in the world who get to redefine what an entrepreneur looks like, what a business owner looks like, what a millionaire, a wealthy person, a successful person, a happy person feels like, looks like, sounds like, acts like. We do not have to be in business suits in tall buildings with briefcases and 60 hours on our plates and not taking time for us. That's not conscious business. That's not conscious living. That's deprivation, starvation, soul sucking. And it's sad because we do it in the name of love for those around us, to fill the shoes of what those around us wanted to see from us and want of us, because that's what they wanted for themselves, but maybe they missed the mark, or maybe they achieved that too and they know you can too, but there's only this one way. And that's what I want to really reiterate, that there's not just a one-way path. There's so many different ways and it's beautiful. And so what's involved in it? This is the last slide, friends. This is the last slide. I love this moon photo, and her hair is so long and pretty. So what's included? Each month we gather. First Sunday of the month, 4:30 p.m., same time as this. probably won't be 2 hours, an hour and a half max, excuse me. But it involves breath work and guided meditation and intention setting in the beginning. And then we dive into the meat and cheese. There we go. I finally get the analogy right of the workshop. And then we share. You're also allowed to invite a friend for free. Let them in on the group. See what it's all about. See if they want to participate in the monthly homework because we get homework in that group. We have a private chat group that we communicate in that I invite you into so we can hold each other accountable, share what's happening, what we are personally doing, because it's going to look different for everyone. And that's what I love the most. It's such a flexible container because we're all so different. We all have different needs. If I'm working with someone who has very heavy water energy versus myself, very heavy fire energy, I'm probably not going to tell them to go sprint 3 days a week for the first week or the second week or whatever the case. I'm probably going to ask if they have access to water or a pool or are able to be in a class, something with fluid, maybe dancing, because it's working with their energetic makeup, which is what really makes this personable and specialized to your needs. Then, with that, the seamless training that you receive through the app that I use 3 times a week. If you want to go more, no problem. But that's the base that I like to use 2 to 3 days a week. It's exclusive access to the Conscious Alignment Method membership portal on my website, isabelwellman.com, where you get a password, you can sign in, and all of the resources are there for you to use at your leisure to keep you accountable, to sign up for what you need to sign up for, to schedule your calls with me that you'll get once a month for your check-ins, for your workouts, all the fun things. Then we have our women's nutrition guide, which you will get in detail when you sign up in this upcoming week because we have opened it. Registration is open. Coaching is open for women who want to indulge themselves in this experience for 6 months. 6 months. Committed, devoted, showing up for yourself with me, with other gorgeous souls supporting you. You also get in that 6-month planner that is in alignment with those astrology signs. So you got a little taste of what that will look like, but it will have homework, the theme, how to integrate it, the tools, the supplies that you'll need, different activities that you can use. It's going to be a blast to use that map to hold ourselves as we move through this year. And then you get a one-on-one call with me, like I said, once a month. We can talk about anything. We can start with an astrology reading. If you already know your astrology or we've done that together before, we can look at where you're going in your astrological year, what moves are best for you to make personally. If you have something you just want to talk about, you want insight on, advice on, you just need to express something that's heavy, it is your time. It is your hour. It is a coaching call for you with me. And I check in with you weekly through text or email, whatever works best for you, about where you're at in your movement process. Because to be in this powerful energy, it is to feel powerful in ourselves and embody that confidence from the inside out. When we take care of the body, we take care of the mind. Like I say, the body is the temple, the mind is the treasure. When we have intentional training, we're making intentional decisions, we are having intentional emotional outcomes. And that is the best part. So, last but not least, the price. And as this, it's an early bird price. Anyone on the newsletter or receiving information from this call will be getting that early bird price. And there's 2 different options for payments. So if you want to do a payment plan, it's $299.83 a month. It is to cover everything in this, the one-on-one, the group, the homework, the training, the nutrition guide, the 6-month planner, seamless integration, the membership portal, all of the things that I have devoted my life to for the last year. These tried and true practices that I have refined over the last 3 years, that I've really devoted myself to committing to and finding the best possible ways of doing it. It's my Virgo Mercury, man. It wants efficiency, it wants organization and detail, and it analyzes until it is as good as it can be. And if you want a little bit of a discount and you want to be a part of that early bird pricing, you can pay in full for $19.97. And that covers the full 6 months. It's a little bit cheaper than the 6-month payment plan, but that's it. If like the best part about this is you can hear those offers, you can go, yeah, and that's perfectly fine because you get a choice. This is my offering. This is a sale. And just like everything in life, all the sales we make, all the sales we encounter, we get a choice, yes or no. And that's our empowerment. And if you do feel called to this, if this is landing, if you've received this with an open heart, and you're like, whoa, that sounds like the perfect plan for me, right on. Let's get you started. Email me at isabel@isabelwellman.com or direct message me or find me on Instagram at isabelwellman. Whatever way you do it works. But everything's under my name, Isabel Wellman. Pretty easy, pretty simple. And I am so elated to have shared this with you, to have done this together, to have shown up, to have expressed my own needs, my own self here in this moment, to share this offering, my first big coaching offering. And I'm just honored if you stuck around, if you partook in any of it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you guys. I will be sending out a newsletter with that early bird offering, and I can't wait to see who comes together for this 6-month coaching experience. And don't worry, if you're not ready right now, if you feel like you need a little bit more time, cart will be opening again 3 months. So after spring happens, summer comes, we will start you up and off where everyone else is, and we'll be on our merry way. So thank you so much. Sending all my love to you. We did it under 2 hours, and I'm really proud of what you're doing today. So happy spring equinox. And again, thank you.